Folks, welcome once again to Teledom TV. It's your number one host, Kwame Telly. Subscribe to the channel, share the channel on your timeline everywhere for your friends and well wishers to actually see and then subscribe as well. Keep your comments coming in, like everything we put here. We are here because of you. Make us number one all the time. The manager of the Three Lions of England, that's Gary Southgate, this afternoon named his squad for the September friendlies against Italy and Germany. And there's been a lot of surprise inclusion and exclusions as well. Now, those that have been excluded from the squad, notable among them is Jadon Sancho of Manchester United, and then Marcus Rashford. Now, for Rashford, I think he has been replaced by someone we are probably here to talk about. But for Jadon Sancho, I think he is probably down to form. He's actually not on form, and he hasn't actually rediscovered that form we saw him with in the Bundesliga with Dortmund. Since he signed for Manchester United, he hasn't been that Jadon Sancho we all knew back then. But for Rashford, it's probably down to injury. He sustained an injury in the game against Liverpool when Manchester United defeated Liverpool 3-1. That's last 2 weeks. So he actually missed the game against Real Sociedad last week in the Europa League, where Manchester United lost by a goal to nothing, and he will be missing the game against Sheriff Tiraspol as well. That's this Thursday. So the squad is out, but there's a surprise inclusion to replace Jadon Sancho. No, to replace Marcus Rashford as well, sorry. And that's got a lot of people talking. Yeah. And I'm talking about Brentford's Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney has been one of the strikers in the Premier League. I personally think these big guys, Liverpool, the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the Manchester United, should probably take a risk and then sign into their fold. Though there have been attempts by some of these giants. I think Manchester United and Arsenal actually had links to Ivan Toney, his representatives, but the move probably didn't materialize because Brentford were, making it very difficult for them to sign. He's actually been rated 40 million. Now, from January to this September, he's actually scored 13 goals, and it's a good return for someone playing for Brentford. So that caught the attention of the manager of the Three Lions, Gary Southgate. So he's been called into the squad to replace the injured Marcus Rashford. Now, from a historical point of view, that's where probably I'm taking my story from. From a historical point of view, he has become only the third Brentford player in history to be called into the national team or to be called to the Three Lions. Only the third since football began, since Brentford was formed. Ivan Toney is now the third Brentford player to ever play for the England national team, the Three Lions. And this coming after 83 years. Yeah, the first being Billy Scott, who was called into the squad that's in way back 1936. So after Billy Scott, there was Leslie Ferdinand Smith. Yeah, Leslie Ferdinand Smith, who was called on the 24th of May 1939. That's 4 months to the World War II. And I don't know if there are still some Brentford supporters who are still alive and who actually remembers that. So 83 years down the lane, Ivan Toney has become the first Brentford player to be called into the national team, and then third overall. But 83 years down the lane, he's the only Brentford player that probably will be done in the national team jersey. But surprisingly, Ivan Toney has never played for any of the English national teams. I mean the junior national teams from the under 15, 16, 17, 19, the 21, any of the junior team he hasn't actually represented. So this is actually the first time he's being called to play for any of the national teams, and it's the senior national team, that's the Three Lions. Congratulations to him. And it's a record, 83 years for someone to actually break this record and to be playing for Brentford. It's actually unbelievable. Congratulations to him. Last 2 years, 2020, the World Cup qualifiers, Jamaica were actually, preparing documents to call him to play for the Jamaican national team to boost their chances of playing for was in their chances of playing at the World Cup, but he didn't go. He actually declined the call up and decided to wait for the Three Lions. And then he's 26 years now. He's still young. Now being called into the fold, I think that's beautiful. That's very, very, very beautiful. So it's a record. And I think this record will probably be there for years to come. Yeah, it will probably be there for years to come. This Teledom TV, as I said, subscribe and then share our channel. Comment and then be liking everything we put here. We are here because of you. Make us number one. It's Kwame Telly.